Teachings from Kuthumi's Hands, the Etheric Body, Part 3. 16. Death and Dying. I might say a word or two about the actual mechanism of death and its relation to the vital body. First of all, it's a decision of the soul, not the personality, except for suicides, as to the when and how of dying. The subtle bodies are the etheric, the astral, and the mental, and it is the etheric that is withdrawn or abstracted first. Often, in the case of a terminal illness, this is a very long and drawn-out process as the physical elementals do fierce battle with the soul. In trying to maintain integrity of the physical complex, for example the deathbed coma, this is the Lemurian departure and characterizes the death of the lower evolved and physically polarized. The average human, polarized in the desire astral nature, has the Atlantean departure, in which the astral elementals battle the soul later on the astral planes. The more mental disciples and initiates have no conflict and withdraw consciously and deliberately, the Aryan departure. The Lemurians were the third root race, the Atlanteans the fourth root race, and the Aryans the fifth root race. The dying one may appear to be unconscious, but that one is fully aware of what is occurring within. Death is essentially the steady magnetic abstraction of the vital body from out of the dense physical body, eliminating soul contact with the physical realms. At the propitious moment chosen by the soul, it sounds forth a word of withdrawal, a word of return, using the power of sound to initiate the process. A certain vibration then passes along the millions of nadis, which has the effect of loosening them all from their connection with the nervous system. And this detaches the etheric body from the denser form, though it still interpenetrates throughout. The nadis are loosened first from the eyes, windows of the soul, which evidences as relaxation and peacefulness in the eyes. Once fully detached from the nervous system, the etheric body withdraws from the extremities and focuses itself at the requisite door of exit, awaiting the magnetic pull of the soul. This point of abstraction differs, depending on the evolutionary level of the dying personality. For animals, infants, and the undeveloped with a strong animal nature and emotional polarization, the abstraction occurs through the solar plexus. For the probationary aspirant, the kindly, well-meaning, socially conscious person, the abstraction takes place near the apex of the etheric heart. And for the mentally advanced and spiritually oriented, the disciples and initiates, the door of exit is through the crown chakra of the head. At these 3 points of exit, there are intricately woven webs of etheric nadis, a protective mechanism against premature departure. As the willful, abstracting influence of the soul increases, the life energy beating against the web punctures through an opening, and the life force rushes out the point of exit. While the vital body is gathering and focusing at the orifice of exit, the physical elemental of the dense body is responding to the pull of matter, also called the spirit of the earth. The denser body is being prepared for dissolution in the reservoir of life and the origin of all atomic substance. The elementals of the body are being attracted back to their place of origination. When the pull of matter becomes more overpowering than the instinct for maintaining the integrity of the body, that is when the struggle with the soul ceases. At the final tug of the soul, the consciousness thread of the soul withdraws through the crown chakra, and the life thread, silver cord, and the vital body withdraw through one of the 3 exits. The vital body assuming the same form as the dense body under the influence of the long-standing thought form created by the personality. A rapport remains between the vacated dead body and its ethereal form, which keeps the latter in some proximity to the former for varying amounts of time, as noticed by some psychics. Cremation breaks off the connection, and embalming and mummification prolong it, sometimes for a very long time, sometimes for centuries. The energies of the etheric form are gradually dispersed and return to the etheric soup of the universe. For the undeveloped and materially oriented, the etheric form may linger a long time, being more attracted to matter, whereas for the mentally advanced who are detached from the attraction of matter, it may disperse quite rapidly. Restitution to the universal reservoir of substance has been accomplished. When the abstraction of life occurs from the dense body, it happens simultaneously from the etheric body, and the dead personality finds himself or herself in the astral body on the astral planes in the great majority of the cases. Only the disciples and initiates and the mentally polarized find themselves in the translucent monasic mental vehicle on the mental planes. These again are a small minority on this planet. These planes are states of consciousness and not localities, and there is no passage of time, so it cannot be said if one remains there for a short or a long time. Taking the average and most common case of the deceased in the astral body, that one is consciously aware of self with a high degree of clarity. There is then a timeless moment of soul contact, the loving light at the end of the tunnel. And a life review of the past incarnation is spread out like a map before the astral awareness of the one who has transitioned. Out of the review and the recognition prompted by the soul, he or she isolates out the 3 major experiences in the past life which hold the keys for the next incarnation, the 3 seeds of the future, and all else is forgotten. Seed 1 has to do with the type of physical environs needed for the next incarnation. Seed 2 determines the quality of the next etheric body and the particular major chakra which will be the most active. Seed 3 indicates the type of the next astral body and promotes the reuniting with those who are familiar and loved by its attractive potency. There then proceeds widely varying experiences on the particular astral plane, which has drawn the deceased according to evolvement and frequency level. Contrary to the belief of many, sex and any impulses of the animal nature are non-existent in astral form. Schools are attended, imbalances and obsessions are reconciled, beloved company is kept, incarnate intimates are visited, astral members of the soul group are sought out, friendships are re-established, long-standing interests are pursued. Soul consciousness is shared for awareness of the future, and gradually the lure of the astral planes wears off, the individual knowing when it's time to eliminate the astral vehicle. Then, the process of descent and calling prepares that one for the next incarnation. Prior to the descent, the astral kamic person vacates the astral form by withdrawing the consciousness thread through the astral crown chakra and the life force thread through the astral solar plexus, leaving the astral body to dissipate and disperse into the astral reservoir of substance. There is a brief interlude of awareness and thinking within the mental body, the experience being dependent on the mental development of the individual. And then the mental vehicle is similarly vacated and shattered and scattered on the mental plane by an act of will of the soul, as it directs the waiting one toward the path of rebirth. Incarnative re-entry is supervised by the soul. The experience of the mental types, disciples, and initiates who are polarized, habitually focused in the mental body is different. In that, after the restitution of the dense physical and etheric bodies to their respective reservoirs of universal substance, they do not have an astral plane experience. Because that body of desire and illusion and emotion that we call the astral body is practically non-existent. In a life focused in the mind, little energy of support has been given to the emotional body. In fact, it has been neglected and dynamically negated. The mental vehicle is translucent and of a higher frequency in proportion to the freedom from emotion and desire. What remains of any astral sediment is eliminated by invoking the light of the soul to dissolve it. The deceased personality then has its own unique mental experience on the particular manasic plane that is compatible with the vibrational frequency of the mental body. And when that experience is concluded, certain words of power are given to the disciple by the ashram of his/her master. These words and sounds invoke the destructive power of the soul, which shatters the mental vehicle and returns its energetic components to the sea of mental substance. When all these temporary vehicles have been restored to their originating source, the soul fragment is drawn back into the sphere of influence of the soul. 17. This piece has been a superficial overview of the more etherealized component of the twofold physical body of the human being on Earth. The larger but identical component which supplies the life principle and the assortment of energies to the denser physical form that it may be used as a response apparatus to all environing conditions and may be used by the personality and its soul to meet the purposes for the incarnation and to grow in experience and roundedness and balance while making direct contact with the lower levels of physicality. One of the more important reasons for acquiring a working knowledge of the etheric body is for the sake of improved health, a better understanding of disease and illness, and the means for healing more effectively outside of and beyond the strictly dense physical methodology employed by the system of allopathic medicine. In the times to come, when all of the Piscean age systems have been superseded and replaced by higher consciousness Aquarian age systems, the science of healing will be revolutionized, and this will be overseen by that great lord of the fifth ray, Hilarion. The student will be required to develop the siddhis or psychic powers attendant upon the stimulation and opening of the head chakras, through meditative techniques and under the supervision of an ascended master of the wisdom. These clairvoyant abilities will be a necessity for viewing the condition of the etheric body and its chakras and its meridian network. The student will also be required to undergo an extensive study of the 7 rays and their energetic influences, an extended study of the astrology of the soul, not that of the personality, and will study the meaning and uses of color and sound and mantrams and the so-called vibrational healing methods of herbs and aromas and flower essences and gemstone elixirs and starlight elixirs, which have their impact at the etheric body level or higher at the more subtle body levels. Techniques for accessing the Akashic records will be included so that conditions of karmic carryover from other lives may be understood. The student healer will learn how to discover the soul ray and the personality ray of the individual, and the dominant rays of the physical, astral, and mental vehicles to incorporate those energetic influences into the overall health and vitality picture of the individual. The science of healing in the Golden Age will be far simpler, far more efficacious, and far more precise in illuminating the true causation of pathological conditions than what is available to humankind during the death throes of the Piscean Age. For more, go to the new Golden Age on Earth. My heartfelt and humble gratitude goes out to the Ascended Master Jawal Kul. Are you in need of the healing energies of the Ascended Master Kuthumi? Visit kuthumi-hands.com.